Public hearing. Anyone other than the applicant or their representative wishing to speak must register and submit the registration slip to the zoning administrator at this time. Following the hearing, we will conduct our monthly business meeting, at which time we will vote on the applications. You may stay and hear how the applications are decided, or you may leave following the hearing. The applicant and the town board will be sent copies of tonight's decisions. Any other person wishing to receive a copy of the decision can sign the sheet at the table in the front of the room. For those of you wishing immediate knowledge of the outcome of the proceedings may call the county zoning office tomorrow morning. The procedure we will follow for each hearing of each application is, after the application is read, the applicant, their agent, or representative will be asked to present their application, followed by any questions or comments from the committee. Then all correspondence will be read. Then all others in favor will have a chance to speak. Anyone objecting will then have a chance to speak. I will then ask for the summary of the committee's field observations and any staff comments. Finally, the applicant will be allowed a chance for a short rebuttal if they wish. Anyone wishing to speak should use a microphone, state their name, and direct their comments to the committee. I ask that all testimony be kept brief, no more than 5 minutes, and to the point. If you are testifying as a nearby landowner, please let us know where your property is located relative to the subject property. Tonight's hearing will be recorded, and recording will become part of the record. Comments that are based on hearsay or secondhand information, as well as slanderous or prejudicial remarks, will be ruled out of order. The committee has looked at all the properties, and the record will reflect these observations. Any person affected by an administrative decision of this committee has 10 days from the filing of tonight's decision to make an appeal. Such appeals are heard by the Board of Adjustment. Information and applications are available in the zoning office. The county assumes no liability and makes no warranty as to the legality of any construction commenced prior to the expiration of the 10-day period. I will now introduce the committee. To my left is Bob Wadle, Larry Crawford, Donna Collada, and I'm Joe Piaski, and to my right is Terry Dopp-Poxted, zoning administrator. Bring out my sheet. Our first application is a conditional use for James and Margaret Ludke of Burlington, Wisconsin. They have made an application for conditional use in accordance with Section 58-236, parentheses B, parentheses 11, and 58-454, parentheses 22, of the Waushara County Zoning Code to place a 1993 Fairmont mobile home, 14 by 70, replace an existing 1969 mobile home with an addition in EAG General Ag Zone. Location approximately 1.549 acre parcel of land, being 300 feet by 225 feet, and part of the southeast 1/4 of the northeast 1/4, section 25, town 20, range 11, town of Springwater, W4911 South County Road A. Is the applicant here? You want to come up? Can you tell us a little bit about your application?
Yep.
State your name for the record.
James Ludicky, or Jim, and my wife's Margaret. We live in the town of Burlington in Wisconsin, down in Racine County. And my wife Marge and I would like to replace the 1969 mobile home at W4911 County Road A in the town of Springwater, which my parents put on the site in 1977. My dad and uncle added a small family room to it, and it served them well through the years. But my parents have both passed away now, and my wife and I have 2 grown kids, and now we just have a son-in-law and 2 grandkids plus 2 hunting dogs, and we've kind of outgrown the place as it is. And we just felt it was the right time now to replace it with something a little bit more modern and a little bit larger to accommodate our family. Over the last few years, we've been looking to see what would fit us in that, and we came across this from North Country Homes and that, and we felt that, my wife and I both felt that would fit our family needs perfectly. I've tried to talk to majority of my neighbors, and everyone that I've talked to they had no issue with what we'd like to do, and to replace the existing mobile home. I hope we'd look favorably on our request for a conditional use permit, and to put our new home on the site. Thank you.
Okay, we have some committee questions for you.
Okay, Mr. Ludicky, I'll be asking your questions. Has there been a recent survey?
No, we haven't surveyed it since I had the initial one that my parents did when they bought the lot. So that's the one we went by. Mhm.
Are you sure of the lot lines?
Yes. Yeah, nothing has changed since that, so as far as I know. Yep.
Are there other mobile homes in that area?
Down towards Saxville, the way I understand, I'm right on the town line of Saxville, the town of Saxville, and the town of Springwater. Ed, is it Shaber? He's my guy that lives neighbor across the street. He's the fire chief, and I think he said he's in Springwater and right down there is Saxville. But towards Saxville, there is a number of mobile homes, yes, right on A. Yep.
And you said your mobile home is a 1969?
69, yes.
Where is the mobile home now? Currently on your lot?
It's currently on the lot, yep. Yep,
No,
my folks
actually-
put it there in 19...
Actually,
Oh, the new
yeah,
one?
we're interested in
Okay,
the
where
new
is the
units
new
that you
one?
want to
Yeah,
place.
the new one is at North Country Homes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right,
And,
thank
and,
you.
and what year is that one?
It's in 1993. And it's been all redone. They re-roofed it with overhangs. It's got cedar siding. They redid the interior with new furnace. It was a one owner from an older couple in Sturgeon Bay. And we've been looking for something that fit our price range and for the amount of time we come up here and for the kids. And it's got 3 bedrooms and a nice remodeled bathroom, and kind of looked like this was what we've been waiting for, hopefully.
Hey, you got to have room for those grandchildren.
That's right. There's 6 and 2, so it's.
Right. Okay, do the pictures of the mobile home accurately represent its current condition?
Yes.
Are any additions or other buildings planned?
No, not what I want to put on there. Nope.
Are you planning any changes to the existing driveway?
The only thing I'll have to do, North Country will come and see if they can fit the trailer down there. And there might be a couple trees. I measured everything, and there's one oak tree I think that'll be in the way. So other than that, no, everything will stay as is. Yep. And I'd like to put it right on the existing where the other one is right now, or kind of close to that. Yes.
Okay, what type of foundation will the mobile home be placed on?
I'm going to put well, I understand I have to put a stone base down and then a block. And I talked to the building inspector already, and he kind of laid out what I need to do, and then putting tie downs down as well. So.
Okay. Has the existing septic system been evaluated, or a soil test been taken for a new private sewage system?
Yes, I had Steve Rockwood just come out a couple weeks ago and inspect everything, and I called him today, and he returned the report in yesterday. So he did the soil boring, and everything looked good. The septic tank looked real good, and he cleaned everything. So I think I'm good to go with that. So I'm hoping. Thank you. Yeah, because I know I had the letter in the mail too that we were going to be everybody wasn't grandfathered in anymore. We were going to have to clean it anyway and get that inspected. So I was glad that I was able to do that.
Great,
Yeah.
thank you.
You're welcome.
If the approval is given, when would the mobile home be placed?
As soon as we can remove the old one, we're ready to put it in right away. I'm hoping within the next month and that we can have everything done and have everything on site.
And if summer ever gets here, you'll be able to enjoy it, right?
Yeah, that's right. For the summertime, if our summer ever gets here.
Okay, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Anybody else have any questions?
I
Hey,
have one.
Go ahead.
You're not going to put any decks or anything on there? Are you?
Deck?
Yeah.
I don't think so. My wife and I were talking about it, and we've got what we'd like to do, being that I've tried to keep up the place that we've had now without sticking a lot of money into it, hoping that we could finally afford to do something. I think what we're going to do is just put concrete steps down on both doorways, and then on the one just put a concrete paver patio. So we wouldn't have any wood or anything to have to come up here and have to maintain and that. So other than mowing my grass and that type of thing. So
Okay.
Okay, you can take a seat then.
thank you.
Any correspondence?
No correspondence and no one registered to speak.
So then I guess the next one would be staff comments.
For the record, the committee has previously been furnished with a copy of the site plan and all the other pertinent data for this and the other applications that they'll be considering tonight. I'd like to explain a little bit about conditional use permits since we have 3 of them. All defined zones have uses that are permitted outright, along with uses that may be permitted provided certain conditions are met. And that's what we're looking at here, a use that may be permitted provided that certain parameters can be complied with, and those help the use remain in keeping with the surrounding uses and area that it's placed in. In some counties, these permits are called special exception permits, and that might make it a little easier to figure out what kind of permit this is. It is the landowner's responsibility to provide the information that shows the committee this use is still in keeping with the zone and area it is proposed for, that the conditions placed on it will ensure it will be a good neighbor to the surrounding landowners. When the committee visited this property, they noted that the existing septic system appeared to have been looked at recently, and we did just receive that report yesterday. That the application was not clear on whether there were plans for other structures such as decks, additions, or storage buildings. The applicant has answered that now. And they also noted that the driveway should be improved to ensure access can be made by emergency vehicles. We have a pretty big bus, and we made it in there, but it was just a little tight. So they'll probably have to do that when they bring the other home in if you get it approved.
Especially now, if we get it, to use it over the winter and that'll be, 4 seasons. We will have to do something to get in there, you're right. Yep, thank you.
And as far as my comments go, as long as the committee is comfortable with the age of the unit being placed because of its relatively good condition, I don't have any additional concerns.
Okay. Is there anything else you'd like to add to this?
Appreciate your guys' comments and
Okay.
consider us. Thank you.
On to our second one, Stephen and Sandra Ulm, Port Washington, Wisconsin, made application for conditional use in accordance with section 58-236, parentheses B, parentheses 18, and 454, parentheses 31, of the Washir County zoning code to store a 2011 Forest River Incorporated travel trailer, 8 foot by 31 foot in AG5, General Agricultural 5-acre minimum zone. Location, approximate 20-acre parcel of land being part of the southeast one quarter of the southeast one quarter, except Lot 1 of CSM 3205, Section 26, Town 19, Range 9 East, Town Deerfield, 11th Drive. Is the applicant here? Does that come up? You state your name and tell us a little bit about your project.
Steve Ulm. We're from Port Washington in Ozaukee County. We're looking to put a 28-foot travel trailer in the property. We have family up in the area, about a half a mile away from the land. So when we found it, we thought it was going to be a good buy. We come up here, quite a bit. So eventually, if you looked at it, there's a lot of trees on the property. We'd like to build a home and actually retire up here in the future. So we've been coming up a lot, clear cutting and kind of figuring out where we want to put the house. So.
Okay. We have some committee questions for you.
Yeah, has there been a recent survey on the property?
Just the original one we got when we purchased it.
You know where your lot lines are.
Yes, I found the markers for them.
Is the trailer licensed and roadworthy?
Yes,
Will the trailer be at least 100 feet from all lot lines?
yes.
Will the trailer be visible from the road or neighboring properties?
Neighboring properties, no. From the road, just slightly.
Will there be running water?
No.
What type of sanitary facilities are planned?
We have a portable dump station that we take with us.
Are any other buildings or structures planned?
Possibly a shed in the future.
Are there other trailers in the area?
I know the property to our south has a conditional land use permit. He did have a trailer at one time there. I spoke with him. I don't know if he has it there at this time. Neighboring properties do have some trailers.
Is a new driveway needed?
New driveway? We're putting one in. I mean, we've got part of it gravelled, and we're gonna slowly keep graveling it and adding to it.
Is this property enrolled in the management force law?
No.
You have a uniform property address number, a fire number?
Not yet.
If approval is granted, when would the trailer be placed?
As soon as it's approved, we'd like to get it on there.
That's all the questions I have.
Okay, you can take a seat then. Is there any correspondence?
There's no correspondence, but I did receive a phone call from the town chairman, Tom Whaley, and he indicated that the town of Deerfield had reviewed the Stephen Ulm travel trailer request and that they had no issues with the placement.
You want to speak at all?
No one speaked. No one registered. I can talk.
Let me go to staff comments.
It's another conditional use that if it's got the right conditions on it, it could be placed in this zone. When the committee visited the property, they noted that if the application is approved, the unit will need a uniform property address number. They also noted that the unit is currently located quite close to the road and the south property line, and it might be visible from the road, especially in the winter. And that is probably my only concern. Our code states that units should not be visible from public roads or neighboring properties, and it's not clear to me whether this one will be visible or not. So I suggest that the unit be screened with evergreens or fencing if it is visible. Other than that, I don't have any concerns as presented.
Anything else you'd like to add? Okay. Okay, we'll move on to our next one, Emmanuel Lutheran Church, also known as German Lutheran Church, Mount Morris, Wisconsin, has made an application for conditional use in accordance with section 58-454, parentheses 8, the Washira County zoning code, to build an approximate 40 by 88 church on a concrete slab. Remnants of the original church lost to fire will be removed in the AG General Ag Zone. Location approximately 1.50 acre parcel of land in the southwest corner of the southwest one quarter of the southwest one quarter, section 1, town 19, range 11 east, town of Mount Morris, N4514 24th Avenue, on a corner of Beechnut Avenue and 24th Avenue. The applicant here, come up. Your name and tell us a little bit about it.
I'm Paul Sattler. I'm trustee for the church. On February 13th, we had a fire in the church. It was up in the roof part, and it burned to the ground. They totaled it. At this point, we would like to build a new church. The old church was running north and south. We'd like to run east and west, put it uphill a little bit on a flatter ground, and make it totally handicap accessible, so you don't have to do any steps or anything like that. Tentative building date, we're looking in mid-July. We would probably, at this point, we're looking at moving the driveway to the south a little bit. It'll be within, over that 150-foot mark. We looked at that. Existing septic tank would be taken out, and we're looking at either a new septic system or a 3,000-gallon holding tank, which you could pump as needed.
Okay, we have some committee questions for you.
Has there been a recent survey?
Yes,
Do you know for sure where the lot lines are?
they're all tagged.
I guess you told us kind of what you're going to do. The intent is to replace the structure you lost to the fire earlier this year with a larger and more modern structure that is handicap accessible. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Can your overall design accommodate traffic for a special event such as a wedding?
Yes, it could.
Okay. Is there a sign being planned?
There's a sign up there now, so it's,
Not going to change that then?
no, I don't think the sign will change.
Are you aware of the state building codes and other state requirements, and will they be met?
Yes, yes.
What kind of foundation is being planned? I think you said a slab.
A footing, and then a frost wall, and then a slab.
You said there will be no basement?
No basement.
How far above the existing grade will the first floor elevation be, and how much filling and grading do you have to do?
Probably looking at like 4 to 6 inches above the grade. We're gonna have to take out the top dirt and the stumps, so we'll have to bring in some fill, but not a large amount.
And you said you were planning a conventional septic system or a holding tank, whichever. You don't know which yet?
Not quite sure. A holding tank would be cheaper. You just have to pump it, you know, but you're gonna have to pump your septic tank every 3 years.
Right.
So I think there's a little bit of calculation that needs to be figured out as into how often it'll be pumped. And then
Are there any other additions or buildings planned other than what you've indicated on the site plan? Are you planning any changes to the driveway? You said you were gonna move it possibly if you abandon the septic?
No, the driveway will be moved.
It will be.
Yeah, the driveway will move to the south. We'll take out the old septic system. And we're moving the driveway so when you come in, you'll be able to park in front of the church.
Because when we were there, you weren't sure about putting in a lift station or whatever, and
Yeah, I think we're just,
that's not gonna happen?
no, that's not gonna happen.
Okay. Are you sure you have enough room for parking?
Yeah, that should be no problem.
Will you need a new fire number? Or is there one? There's one there?
I don't think so. There's one there.
Depends on how far the
That
driveway
might change with
moves.
the position of the building, though,
The driveway,
Would it?
or the driveway.
based on where the driveway is.
They measure
On the
from,
driveway? So
yeah.
if it's on one side of the driveway, on the other side?
No,
no,
the
where the,
number will change because it's set out every so many feet. There's a new number.
We can look at that
Yeah.
and see how far the
No big
driveway
issue.
moves and whether it needs to have a new number.
Probably 30, 40 feet.
We'll have to look at that. We don't try to change them unless we absolutely have to, and there's nothing else close by. So we might get by with the same number. Yeah.
and you said if the approval is granted tonight, you plan on starting in middle of July?
That's the way it's looking right now, yeah.
Okay, that's all the questions I have. Thank you.
You can take a seat. Any correspondence?
No correspondence, but we did have one person register in favor but not speak.
Robert Rhodey. Okay, nothing else then? So then we need staff comments.
This is another conditional use permit. I'd like to explain a little bit why we're here with this particular application. It was the scene of the site of a church for many, many years. I think you said one of the original documents was 1890s or something. But it never went through the zoning process to get the conditional use that it needs. And because they lost the church, they can replace it, but they want to expand it a little bit and make it handicap accessible. And our code says that when you expand over a certain amount, you need to go through the conditional use permit process at that time. So that's why we're here tonight. When the committee visited the property, and they noted that there's adequate room on the property for the new church and parking, and that the septic system needs to be properly planned for, and that this is a replacement of a structure lost in a fire. And I'd like to explain just a little bit about septic systems. Normally, holding tanks are systems of last resort. We have enough good soils in the county. We think, why not treat the waste right there rather than create a holding tank situation where you have to haul it away for treatment? And a lot of other areas of the state don't have land spreading. It all has to go to a municipal treatment plant. So generally, holding tanks are systems of last resort. There are some times when they are advantageous if you have a very low water or wastewater producing site. And I don't know if this would qualify for that. So you might still be able to have a holding tank. I don't want to say for sure, but generally we do discourage them because it's just easier and better for the environment if we can treat it right there on site. And that's it for my comments. I really have no issues with this whatsoever.
Can you have anything else you'd like to add? Anything else? Okay. Then we'll go on to our zone change. John and Ramona Zelinka of Coloma have made an application for zone change after the fact in accordance with section 58-131 through 138 and 58-724 of the Share County Zoning Code from AG General Ag 3-acre minimum to CS Commercial Service to conditionally establish a wedding and retreat venue, Caribou Bay Retreat, utilizing existing residence, accessory building converted to a second residence, cabin and accessory buildings. Location, 2 parcels combined being approximately 37.3 acres in size, being part of the northwest 1/4 of the northeast 1/4, and part of southwest one quarter of the northeast one quarter lying west of County Road JJ, subject to the easement. Section 29, Town 18, Range 9 East, Town of Richford, N 795, County Road JJ. The applicant here? Gonna come up? State your name and tell us about your project.
My name is John Zelenka, and what my wife and I would like to do is we'd like to be able to rent our home and our property by the weekend or by the week, and we'd also like to be able to host weddings on the property.
Okay, we have some committee questions for you.
Okay, has there been a recent survey?
No.
Do you know where the lot lines are?
Yeah, I've lived on the property for 45 years, yeah.
Well, I've lived on my place a long time too, and I don't know where the lot lines are.
I've walked every property line on it.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah, I do.
Could you describe your proposed business in more detail, please?
Well, I guess you could say we're trying to have a venue that's similar to a bed and breakfast where families would come up for reunions, they'd celebrate different holidays, Christmas, Memorial Day weekend, 4th of July. They'd come stay at the house and they'd use the property. We have a man-made lake behind the house. We have a fire pit back there. Before we did this, we used to do a lot of cross-country skiing and snowshoeing on our property, and we'd like to let people that stay over there do the same thing. As far as the weddings go, both of my children got married on the property. That's where they had their weddings, and the people that attended it seemed to like it. My kids enjoyed it, and we just thought that this would be just a kind of a natural fit for my wife and I as kind of a retirement business to do right now.
How many people do you anticipate will attend your largest event?
Well, that's hard to say. When my kids got married, 300. They had 300 out there. Both of them did at different times. I would just guess that would probably be the largest number of people that we'd have out there at one time.
Okay, thank you. How many employees do you anticipate will be needed during your peak times and larger events?
Well, right now it's my wife and I. My kids help out when they're available. I could see us having maybe a few part-time people helping make beds, clean the house, help my wife with some of the yard work, that sort of thing. It's going to be pretty low-key, though.
What sort of traffic will there be, and what sort of parking will you need?
Probably weddings are going to have the biggest impact as far as parking goes. And the property that I have was originally set up to house another business that I had at one time. And at that time, we had as many as 120 people working for us. We obviously didn't have that many there at one time because we had 3 shifts going on over there. But I've had as many as 60 to 70 cars in the lots. I've got 2 main gravel parking lots over there. One that's 75 feet by 180 feet, and the other 60 by 150 feet. And we have other gravel parking lots as well, but those are the main ones. And they're well off of the county road, JJ, that the property fronts. It's going to have absolutely no impact as far as anyone getting close to the highway, parking their vehicle. They'll be well off the county road.
Are you planning an advertising, a sign to advertise?
Yeah, we're going to have to do that. In order to reach out to our prospective customers, we'll probably have to do, we're advertising right now on a website called VRBO, Vacation Rental by Owners, and most of the bed and breakfasts are in there, that sort of thing. As we move through this, there may be other avenues that we're going to have to advertise in order to reach out to some of the people that are outside of the area. That'll have to be determined at some point.
Oh, you don't have any idea how big a sign you're planning, or?
I've got one sign up right now. I think,
Our packet?
yeah, you might have it in your packet there.
Okay,
It's out.
Caribou Bay.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, it's a sign that we put out. It's what we're calling our property. Back in, I'll give you a little history about that. Make it brief. Back in 1986, we found a caribou horn on our property right behind the house, and University of Wisconsin did some testing on it and found out that it was 12,500 years old, and it's the southernmost find of any caribou in the United States. So we called our property Caribou Bay, and we've called it that for quite a while. But we thought that this would be a natural name to call the business as well.
Are you aware of the state building codes and other code requirements, and will they all be met?
Correct. Mm-hmm. Yes.
Are you planning any new construction at this time?
No, I'm not.
Will there be any alterations to existing structures at this time, or are there plans to do so in the future?
The only alterations will be the second residence that's on the property over there, and we're working with the building inspector on that, and I have a contractor that's going to be doing the work, and he works exclusively with this gentleman as well. So we're well aware of what those restrictions are and what we have to do to upgrade that.
Okay. What sort of sanitary facilities exist on the property now?
We've got 2,000-gallon tanks on the house. There's 4 bathrooms in the house. And if we host weddings, we're going to have porta potties out there. That's what we had for my kids' weddings, and that's what I anticipate for these as well.
Are there any floor drains in the existing buildings, and if so, how are these wastes disposed of?
No, there aren't any that I'm aware of.
What sort of activities are planned to take place outside? And you said weddings. Would it be limited to weddings, or? Jim?
As far as activities go?
Yes.
If the wedding is going to be an outdoor wedding, the reception would be outdoors. If someone got married on the property and they wanted a reception and it was not during a time of the year when you'd have an outdoor reception, we would suggest that they go to the Richford Town Hall. That's what our plans are.
Can you describe how weddings would be hosted?
How they would be hosted.
We talked a little bit about the catering and
catering.
Oh, I see.
All right.
Okay. Most of that would be, we're going to suggest to the people getting married who does catering from the area. And there are several restaurants, companies in the county that do that sort of thing. We would suggest to them where they can go to get the tents. We would not provide ourselves any of the food or the liquor. This would be something that they would be responsible for and brought in. And this is something that's typical with weddings that are going into a venue that does this sort of thing.
Are you aware of the county noise ordinance if wedding dances are planned, and health code requirements if food is going to be served?
As far as noise ordinances,
That's known as the Bob Wadle law.
my nearest neighbor is is my brother, and he's, I think, a half a mile away. And to the south and to the north, my mother-in-law and my son and daughter-in-law live there, and they're a little bit more than that. I don't think there's going to be any issues at all as far as noise goes. We're literally right in the middle of a large area that has nothing around us other than woods and fields.
Are you planning,
You probably should know that the county does have a noise ordinance in it. What is it, 10 o'clock?
Yeah, I mean, these aren't gonna go on all night, I think.
I
That's
certainly hope
the, that's the other point to be made, is that, you know,
Sure.
you're probably gonna have certain hours, and
Yeah,
it's like, okay, by this time,
Quiet time.
things start to,
yeah. You know,
Wind
one of
down.
the things that I want to impress on everyone is that we're going to be screening the people that come there, and this is not set up for a group of, let's just say, college kids that want to get out and blow off some steam on the weekend. These are going to be for responsible adults, and the fees are going to be heavy enough that we're going to weed out people that are just looking to go somewhere and have a rowdy time. So that gets, we tell them that right up front.
and I'm assuming with the health code requirements, if the food is going to be catered in, that would be up to the caterer to meet the
right,
health
you may need to provide some space for them to hold the food,
Mm-hmm.
and there may be requirements with that. I'm not really familiar with that myself, but
Yeah,
it's something to be aware of.
And we do have some areas that they can hold some food in that would be outside of the tents that they're going to have provided.
Are you planning on any new driveways or changes to the existing driveway? The application is currently on the entirety of 37 acres. Do you have any problem with limiting the commercial zoning to the easterly portion of the property where the buildings and other improvements are now located?
No, I spoke to the committee when they came out to do a site review, and that I'm totally okay with that.
You need a new fire number.
And I'm okay with that as well.
All right, if an approval is granted, when do you anticipate being fully operational?
Immediately. Not sooner. This is the peak season.
All right, thank you. I don't have any other further questions. Thank you very much.
Okay, you can take a seat. Any correspondence?
Yes, we received a email from the clerk for the town of Richford, Julia Staler, and it's addressed to Amy. Good morning, Amy. This email is in regards to the Jack and Mona Zelinka zoning request relative to Caribou Bay Retreat. At the meeting on April 7th, 2014, the board reviewed and discussed the request. The board supports the plan and scope of the operation. If I can be of further assistance, please just let me know. Have a great day. And that's signed Julia Staler, clerk for the town of Richford. We received that on May 7th. And I also had a conversation with Mark Schumacher on the Planning Commission for the town of Richford, and that's when he expressed some concerns of the Planning Commission about not rezoning the whole property, but trying to limit it to the easterly portion. And I shared this map with him, and I made copies. I should have made copies for the committee earlier, but I did make copies for the committee. Oh, you guys got it. So I have one for you, too, if you want it. I have plenty of copies, but we did discuss it on site, and that seemed to alleviate any of their concerns, too. So that's it for correspondence. No one registered.
And staff comments?
Again, remember that the committee has reviewed everything, even stuff that I forgot I gave them. And we did go and visit the site. I'd like to explain a little bit about zone changes because they're different from a conditional use. A zone change should be considered a permanent change to the property. Like I said before, every zone has permitted and conditional uses, and this is going to change what's going to be permitted on the property. In this case, it will change the zoning from general agricultural, suitable for a single-family dwelling and normal agricultural practices to a commercial zoning where a resort or lodge is a permitted use. Ag zoning is the predominant zoning classification we have in Waushara County, and that's what you typically find out in the rural areas. This property previously was the site of a business that had a conditional use permit to operate that business. And then when that business grew so large that it was no longer suited for the ag zone, it relocated to another area with other similar businesses. Now the landowners are proposing a zone change to our most restrictive commercial zoning, it's commercial service, to operate a new type of business on the property. The establishment of the lodge would be permitted as a use. Let me start over. The establishment of the lodge would be a permitted use in the commercial service zone, and with proper management and limited expansion should be no more or possibly even less noticeable to the neighbors in the area. Because of its permanency, a zone change must pass 3 different boards. First, it gets reviewed by the Planning and Zoning Committee tonight at the public hearing, and then they will make a decision on it at their business meeting. If they approve it, then the application would go to the full county board for review, and then it finally goes to the town board for their review, and it must be approved at all 3 steps before the change becomes final. When the committee visited the property, they noted that there appears to be plenty of room for events such as weddings as well as the accompanying parking. They also noted the driveway location has good visibility and that the second residence, when permitted, should have a separate fire number. As far as my comments go, the rental of a house for lodging and occasional small meetings would not appear to generate much more traffic than a busy single-family dwelling would. However, it does appear that the wedding venue certainly could and likely would generate more traffic. I think that if these larger events are well planned with proper safety considerations being addressed, including traffic and any safety concerns, noise, those kind of things, limiting hours, that this will not actually pose a great negative effect on the surrounding property owners either. They would be more sporadic and certainly need to address some sanitary facility concerns, and the owner indicated that they wouldn't have anything indoors either. Otherwise, those buildings would have to meet commercial codes too. So the owners had stated at the time that the committee was out there that no motorized or other recreational activities constituting a recreational area would be permitted on their property. And this is good because this is the type of expansion that would require review at another public hearing and another decision to approve before they could be allowed. Limiting the application to the proposal submitted in writing and expounded upon at tonight's public hearing is appropriate and appears to be in keeping with the landowner's plans as well. I think we should remember that they'll also be living there, so that's probably going to help matters too. You usually don't want to live next to something that gets out of control either, so that's also another very good thing. Limiting the area to the easterly portion discussed with the Planning Commission is also highly recommended, and that will curtail the impacts on the neighbors as well. And it keeps it in line with the town's land use maps. And finally, if the committee considers an approval, all other code requirements will need to be complied with, and that's food safety, building code. There might be some security requirements for larger events, road and driveway safety codes, sign limits, parking requirements. That's just to name a few. And we always have to remember anything that's well managed certainly fits in better than something that's not. So I think this could be a very good reuse of the former commercial buildings and space. That's it for my comments.
Anything else you'd like to add? Okay. Okay, we'll now close our public hearing. On to our business meeting. Bob's got the roll call taken. I need approval of the agenda.